This is coming to us from Reddit, where someone points out that people have to apologize to J.K. Rowling on Twitter. Apparently, due to laws in the UK that allow people to be sued for speech, many of the people who said horrible things about J.K. Rowling are now seeing very real legal action against them. Some of them are even groveling, apologizing profusely for comparing her to evil historical organizations that were wiped out in the 40s. As someone who is 100% pro-free speech, I'm torn about how I should feel about this. On one hand, the irony is absolutely hilarious. A group of folks that are pro-censorship are getting torn down by the very rules and laws that they espoused. On the other hand, I'm really not about people getting banned or sued for saying something, no matter how disgusting. I'm open for any discussion. Is there a middle ground? I think I can laugh at something even if I disagree with it, right? I don't think this individual needs to be burdened by this type of moral conscience because it doesn't have to conflict with your ideals, okay? Before believing in free speech, there should be a previous ideal that needs to be upheld, and that is that no one is above the law. So even if you disagree with the law, even if the law is horrible, it should be applied equally to everyone. Now, I know that this sounds wrong, and you may be asking, like, why should the law that I disagree with be applied to other people? And the answer is that the more people that are affected by something, the more likely it is for change to happen. If you have a group of people that make the rules but they do not play the game, then they do not have any reason to care about how unfair the game is. Especially if you have a psychopath. A psychopath is a person that does not care about the suffering of others. So they can make very difficult rules or inhumane rules, and as long as it doesn't affect them, they don't care. But the thing that a psychopath cares is what happens to them. So the moment the rules that they create affect them as well, then it's more likely that they would want to change the rules. So this is why even if you believe in free speech, you also need to believe that everyone should be under the law. And then it's also about self-defense, right? Like, for example, if the Ukrainians want peace, when the Russians are invading, they can't just say, well, I thought the Ukrainians want peace, like, why are they shooting at us? You know, it doesn't make that much sense. Or imagine a person from World War II living in Great Britain saying that, well, I don't know what an anti-aircraft is, I don't want to learn how to fly a plane, I just want the Nazis to stop bombing. It doesn't work that way. Now, regarding UK, yes, it does have certain rules and certain laws against hate speech, most importantly, sexismus. I do disagree with these laws. I believe it's the Communication Act, which was initially passed so that people do not make prank calls and insult other citizens. But now it was expanded to the internet, and everything you do on the internet has, like, legal ramifications. So if you happen to insult a woman on the internet, it can be interpreted as sexism as long as she takes offense. And it's not a civil lawsuit, like paying her damages. No, you can go to prison. And that is how the United Kingdom is structured right now. So, on one hand, I disagree with that. I think that on the internet, everyone is equal. A woman and a man have the exact same power. They also have a keyboard. They can use it to type. If someone says something bad to you, you can block, mute them. And of course, if you're a public figure and you have millions of users, especially if you're someone like Elon Musk or J.K. Rowling, you're going to get a lot of abuse. YouTubers get a lot of abuse, Boogie, for example, many others. But if you're a public figure, you have to learn to deal with that. Like, the onus should be on the individual to learn to block and mute. However, we do not live in that society. We live in a society of trust and safety. Okay, well, if you live in a society of trust and safety, the moment that people are harassing you online, you have legal repercussions, which apparently J.K. Rowling is more than willing to enact. I have seen some of the vitriol and the abuse that she is getting, and it is beyond the pale. As such, I can definitely understand why she wants to make a couple of examples. Now, take into account that on the other side of the fence, the people attacking her, they're very moral crusaders, right? Like, they believe that they are saving human lives by attacking J.K. Rowling. Which is why it bewilders me that they are so willing to backpedal. Like, if you genuinely think that bringing harassment on a person is saving lives, I mean, that's a noble thing. But apparently, It is something that they're not doing because it is saving lives. It's something they're doing because it feels good, doesn't it? Right. So they're part of an ideology where they have rationalized to themselves that what they are doing by insulting a middle-aged woman on the internet is actually moral good. And it's actually desirable. So that's why they do it. Because they feel good. They're not doing it to protect lives or to save other people or anything like that. No, they do it because they like it. Again, if you do something to protect someone else, if you do it because you legitimately think that lives are in danger, then you're more likely to be willing to take responsibility for that. And you're more likely to say, well, even if the law says this, well, I'm saving someone else. And therefore, it's a moral good. But they're not doing that because they know they're not saving someone else. So they're going to grovel and they're going to ask forgiveness and they're going to do all of that. Again, I have been on the internet for more than a decade now. I have trolled. I have also tried to help people. I have also tried to persuade people of various arguments. I have done it without violating any TOS. Like, even if you're part of, like, the left-leaning ideology, you can still disagree on the internet without violating the terms of service, which are ever more encompassing. Like, the terms of service that are now are far more horrible than it used to be in 2016. But even now, I can disagree with someone and know how to phrase and how to put the idea across without doing the Hasse-Sprache. But when it comes to the far left, they're not used to getting banned or punished or anything like that, at least on some social media websites. The reason being that the rules never applied equally. But especially now at Twitter, the rules do apply. And when it comes to the UK, yeah, they do take this type of harassment seriously. J.K. Rowling is a very wealthy individual who probably wants to make a couple of examples. Like, she's doing activism as well. Right? Like, she is also interested in pushing her message. And she's going to use these chuckleheads on Twitter in order to push her agenda. So she's going to say, look, I'm a woman. Look at the horrible harassment that I'm getting. I mean, third-wave feminists are proficient at this. Like, they can start their own PhD and explain how to take online harassment, mold them like chakra, and turn them into cash. This is literally what they're good at. So this is what she's doing right now. Like, she is going to take, like, probably the most obnoxious harassments that she's getting, make it into a folder, and then she's going to start suing these people. Or calling the cops on them. And it's going to make international news, and people that aren't politically motivated are going to read the papers, they're going to see the harassment, and they're going to say, yeah, okay, maybe this is a little bit too much. You know, like, she's a middle-aged woman, because this is how she appears for normal people. Like, I know that for people on Twitch, she appears like Satan. But for the average Joe, for the average British person, she's like a person that created Harry Potter, maybe made their childhood better. You know, people who aren't concerned about these identity politics probably don't even know about what the conversation is about. They're going to see an article, J.K. Rowling receives harassment, and they're going to look at what harassment, and they're going to say, like, oh my god, oh Dios mío. Who does this to her? Like, who are the people that... Right? This is how the optics are viewed from the outside. And this is why she's doing it. Let me know what you guys think, and hopefully, I will see you on my live stream. Take care.